which is going to take place on 8th March 2022, which I believe is going to be on a Tuesday next week. And UBC management perceived it important to take it up and educate and inspire the people of Uganda about this important day. And in Ground Zero, we are looking and discussing the theme of this important day. We are looking at Women's Day celebrations, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. I'm being honored and privileged to have been joined by a special team of guests who are going to discuss important issues of national development, but also address people's concerns in as far as gender equality is concerned. I've been joined by Sasire. Ruth Muguta is the Principal Social Development Officer, is coming from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Godfrey Nanyenya is the Chairperson Human Rights Cluster at Men Engage Uganda, and Xavier Nakakembo is Life Coach, Gender and Business Developer. It is a very big privilege to have been joined with you, ladies and gentlemen. In a few minutes, you can greet our dear listener, starting with Ruth Muguta.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and the listeners who are listening to us. We pray that you benefit out of our discussion and our dialogue, and we wish you a happy Women's Day.
Godfrey Nanyenya.
Good morning, everyone, our listeners. We are glad to be here in UBC Studios to discuss key issues around gender, and I hope you tag along because we have a lot of good packages for you, good info. I just want you to keep on. Thank you.
Xavier.
Good morning, dear listeners. I'm very excited for this program to speak about gender equality, and thank you for having me. I hope you enjoy the show with us.
It's a privilege having you, ladies and gentlemen, on UBC Ground Zero, and I welcome you, our dear listeners, wherever you're listening from. This is UBC Ground Zero, and we're broadcasting live on 98 FM UBC Radio, and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Utebo, UBC Western Island, Magic 1 on 100 FM. You will join the conversation on 776-5111-426. The number to call is 776-511-426. This is Ground Zero on UBC Radio, and Ampaide Amon Butega is my name. Ruth, what is the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development about in as far as gender inequality is concerned?
Thank you very much, our moderator. And again, good morning, listeners. Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development is a ministry that has the mandate to ensure that everyone is equally treated, both men and women. And from the beginning, as you are aware, it is where gender equality was initiated, and we started by starting with the with women in development to ensure that women are brought at the same level with men at that time, reduce on the factors that create the inequality, and ensure that all men and women, girls and boys benefit equally. And our role is to develop, to formulate policies, guidelines, to ensure that whoever is an implementer has a guide in which he or she implements from.
Okay. Godfrey Nanyenya, what is about Men Engage Uganda in as far as gender equality is concerned?
Thank you so much. Once again, our dear listeners, I am Godfrey Nanyenya. I come from Men Engage Uganda. Now, Men Engage Uganda is a social change network of CSOs undertaking joint actions informed by shared visions, principles, and of course guiding commitments to intersectional feminists to work with men and boys to transform patriarchal masculines informed by the principle of work. So specifically what we do, we work with men and boys to overcome the constraints of gender equality, to promote gender equity and equality in all spaces of our work. I come from, of course, a men movement. As Men Engage is, it's a network of CSOs that are championing or are aiding feminism work, or not only feminism work, but they are working with a number of organizations that are empowering girls and women and boys to promote gender equity. And I'm glad to be here to spearhead more on this topic.
Okay, that's so good. Xavier, what is about the life coach? What do you do in gender and business developer in as far as gender equality is concerned?
So I am a gender and business developer, and I work with Legacy World Initiative. What we look at is more of GBV prevention through using male engaged models, but also developing businesses. What we look at, we talk more or have conversations about why it's important for a company or a business to take on gender equality and what it can do for them. Does gender equality have an impact on the profitability of a company? Yes. So today I'm here to talk about why it's important for business and how it can be able to help families and improve livelihoods, and at the end of it all achieve economic results.
That's wonderful. Ruth,
Yeah.
how best have you worked and promoted gender equality in the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development?
Thank you very much. One is to demystify or to explain and try for people to understand, because as you are aware, people, when you talk about gender, they quickly rush to a woman. So it is to ensure that we differentiate between when we are talking with women in development and when we are talking about gender. Gender is critical, as my colleague has said. It affects both in family, in community, and the country at large, in relationships and in behaviors. It affects social relationships, as I said, but as such, it is a fundamental human right dignity that everyone should have a right for equal and fair treatment, regardless of the difference. So this difference shouldn't make Ruth and John, that when we appear for an interview, John is taken to be more than what Ruth. Because you have known that in most companies, if it is a young girl, they will ask whether you are about to marry, knowing that now you are going to be discriminated according to, because you are going to be pregnant. And so Ministry of Gender ensures that it gives a good environment by providing laws, policies, guidelines that can help, in which the players, the key players and duty bearers can be able to follow. We've been able to mainstream gender in all MDAs, and that's why maybe our colleagues are here to ensure that if it is a business entity like in private sector, they have a gender policy to ensure that the private sector in employment, in provision of skills and in everything, there is no discrimination and there is equal treatment of both girls and boys. Then where there is a gap, we then ensure that we put affirmative action. As you know, there was affirmative action for the 1.5 for the girls in universities. And at least where we have reached, if we evaluate ourselves, there is a balance now of the number of girls and boys at university level. Maybe the affirmative action could be put in certain subjects to ensure that girls can also be in those. We have policy, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which guarantees equal for all persons under the law. So that if we have become suspects or victims of the law, there is no saying that this is a woman or this is a man. We are equally treated the same way. And in the spheres of political, you can see now whereas we have the affirmative action of the women's seat, but the women are allowed in every elective position to quote, the same as the men and the boys and girls. In social and culture, we have cultural leaders who are women, but when you know that it was mostly dominated by men. And this one the Constitution gives a commitment that gender equality is thereof embedded in most of the supreme law. Mainstreaming government frameworks, initiatives to redress gender imbalances has been done. But this one is done on a basis of which factors have been identified that will affect the participation of both men and women. And in this, as we see further, we've got even the international laws like the CIDU, like the SID, which is Sustainable Inclusive Economic Development, Effective Governance, and Convention on All Forms of Discrimination that guide the country in which whatever we are making as a policy, whatever we are making as a guide, should be based internationally, regionally, and even nationally. So in this, it has been able to find that there has been opportunities that have been given to women so that we can balance the imbalance that was found at that level. But now we are seeing an imbalance again coming on. Because of the more emphasis on putting on women, there has been an imbalance of the boys coming up, or the girls or the men missing or somehow not equally or given equal opportunities in most of the things that are serving, are guidances, and which the equal both men and women are supposed to benefit. And in this, studies are being done, analysis is being done to ensure now the ministry guides key implementers in ensuring that we bring the inequality of boys in relation to the girls under gender equality. We come out with male engagement and to ensure that and this one is specifically under sexual gender-based violence, to ensure that we can fight the vice with both men and women. I think I can stop there.
Okay. Thank you so much for that detailed background of what the Ministry of Gender is doing in as far as promoting gender equality is concerned. We've been joined by Jackie Batamuliza, coming from the Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies. Welcome on the show, Jackie.
Thank you so much.
What is about Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies?
Ask that again.
What is about Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies?
We're basically a think tank, and we are focused on research on issues of social justice. But our about 5 areas, but women empowerment is the newly interested in, and we've engaged in a couple of activities with other organizations that have been involved much longer than we have. So the aspect issues of women and can I say not really just what person is not really just also looking ways in which find out what really happens in the lives of women. And we have what is called is inclusive growth development, and we've basically been getting engaged in campaigns or activities that sort of enable us to understand the gender issue of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome on the show. This is UBC Ground Zero, and all our dear listeners in the conversation run on 776-511-511. 426. You share your thoughts on what you think gender equality is about in as far as Uganda is concerned. Nanyenya,
Yes.
you just heard from Ruth and what they are doing in the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, that they are promoting equality. Are we equal? Are you happy as a man? What Uganda, the status quo in Uganda? Nanyenya.
Well, I should say I'm not pretty happy. Today when I was coming to the studio, I landed on an old newspaper in my house. It was printed by the Daily Monitor way back in 2019, around February. And on it there was a big heading that girls outperform boys in the national examination for the second consecutive time. And beneath that headline there was a comment that, hey, girls have always performed better than boys, and I think there is nothing to worry about. Well, I believe there is something to worry about. And of course, from the perspective where I come from, I work with men and boys to promote gender equity and equality. And also we have been using evidence-based gender transformative approaches to promote gender equality. We run father and daughter workshops, and currently we are also implementing the Power to Youth campaign, which is ongoing as well. But unfortunately, I feel like equality is not what we are looking up to now so much. We are looking at empowerment or building capacity of one gender, and at a certain point you'll realize that boys will be left out. Leveraging from the headline that I studied in the morning about the old newspaper, something came into my mind that at one point we shall raise a generation of uneducated, of boys who are less educated than their wives, than their mothers, than their siblings. Well, I believe every listener in here, you have a brother, you have a nephew, or you have a son. And I just want to question one thing. Do any of you know the purpose? Does any of your brothers, your sons, your nephews have a purpose in life? Personally, when I was growing up, I had a purpose in life because I was raised either to be a warrior or to be a sole breadwinner in a home. And I thank the feminist movement so much for stepping up because it expanded the girl's purpose, you get. And now the girl's purpose was expanded from only child care and caring about a family, but it was expanded to either engaging in gainful economic activity, chasing that paper, that money, But for the boy, of course, there is no one who stepped in to expand their purpose on us. It is only been a trend that, and this is worldwide, that boys' purpose is to earn money, earn money, earn money, earn money, or be a loser. You get? So nobody has stepped in to expand the boy's purpose of becoming a full-time dad, becoming a nurse, becoming an elementary school teacher. You get? So because of lack of purpose, we are raising a generation of boys who lack who are not even empathetic. They lack empathy. And of course, as the notion is, yesterday I was in downtown Awonga, around parking at the market. It was usually called Kaja, and I found a group of boys. They were said, we are hustling, and I asked them, you're hustling? What are you hustling for? Money. And I was like, aren't there any other ways you can hustle? And they were like, of course, I also visited so much of the prisons, and there are so many young boys. But what hurts me is not that boys are not so much empowered, but it's only one thing. When boys go wrong, when boys die, they are seen as heroes because they are protecting lives of the humanity race. But when a girl dies, that's a statistic. It raises alarm. And I also don't want girls to die as well. But one thing I know, when you look at Even globally, of course, the UN recently released figures that boys are falling behind girls in the international developed countries. And of course, I know, of course, the major causes that developed countries have one thing in common. It's they have promoted divorce. And of course, this has left boys without fathers. And a boy without a father, and even a girl, lacks a sole purpose to live. They lack that empathy, that problem solving, that psychologically it happens. So now I was recently seeing how boys were killed in America and elsewhere, and the entire country was ranting, hey, Black Lives Matter, what about boys' lives? So what are we doing to alleviate that gap?
Okay, thank you, Nanyanya. Xavier,
Yes.
don't you think women have been given a lot of attention that we need to reduce?
I really appreciate you actually asked something very relevant that I was going to talk about. It's not a basic issue of attention. We all know for the past many years there have been a lot of inequalities that are happening. And we're looking at the side that is vulnerable and we're giving them attention to work on certain issues. The argument that is happening right now is women are being given attention, yes. They're being given attention, they're being given opportunities, but how about the boys and something like that? So it's important to note that while we think about male engagement, we also need to think of ways that we have to engage them, ways that bring them as allies to women, not as champions, not as bosses, not as, because I mean we've been through a lot of gender roles, gender values, gender roles, and all that has affected the boy child. So while women for the past many years, they have been not given attention, and for the few years they have been given attention, it's already like a discussion that they have been given attention, they have been given attention. So to me, I think it's not just an issue of women are being given attention, we're also being closed up by issues of numbers. So you're giving many girls a chance to live, you're giving many women chances, but the issue here is issues of participation and decision making. That even when you have a company and it employs 80% of women, you have given women numbers. You know what they will tell us? Yeah, but I have 80% of women in my company. Haven't I given them a chance? But when the issues of decision making, a panel like heads of departments are literally out of that. But these men or these 7 men are the ones that are making decisions out of the 80% of women. So talk about women being given attention, I would like us to go closer to issues of they're given attention, yes, but are they engaged in decision making? Are they engaged in economic participation? Are they engaged in key areas that should have been talked about?
Oh God, Jackie, you've heard from the other discussants. Our topic is Women's Day celebrations, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Are we likely to have a sustainable tomorrow considering how men are being treated today? They are neglected, they are not valued, they are taken to be heroes even when they are struggling. What is tomorrow likely to be?
My fellow can I call you panelists, but it's still and Nanyanya, Godfrey, our elders in the ministry are doing. That's for sure. Seems to be doing what they ought to be doing, and I think we just need to sustain a certain level of balance. Do I think we have a sustainable future? Absolutely yes, because look at us. Here we are. We are on a round table discussing how better to do what we are doing. I have an issue with in my docket of work. I organize roundtables for discussions, different fields, be it democracy, be it petroleum, be it anything. And sometimes, and this is to point to Xavier's comments, but still respond to your question, Amon. Sometimes we can reach out to women to talk about an issue, and they will decline. But if you produce a flyer that is advertising the show and it doesn't have a man, you have a Twitter battle. If you invite someone from Twitter, they'll show up just to complain, a lady. Now, I think we have to develop the culture of empowering girls or ladies or women to earn space, not for it to be handed to them. The disadvantage in something being handed to us is that we don't grow. It affects us. So it's very important that we women, because I'm one of them, we women don't reach out to sympathy. Let's reach out to qualification. Let's qualify ourselves to the platforms. I think the world is open for us. I think the world is receptive to us. And thank goodness for every activity, every campaign, every effort that has been put in place to make sure we arrive at this. There was a time when women were just property. There was a time when these pockets of disability, social disability, still exist. There are men who still look at women, and actually the fact that there are many men who still think that we are only capable of being women to them. I mean, feminine beings. In my actually, let me call it my experience, because it's just not around my work. In my experience, it's been like when a woman does something that a man hasn't seen a man do, or a woman thinking in a way that a man hasn't seen a fellow man thinking, the first instinct is, what is in this woman? So they would attempt to reduce you. I don't think men all right, we have right now, we have boys and we have men. I think the boys right now are the ones that are at but the men today still have that superiority feeling that still dominates look at women. And I think it's up to us women to, if our biology permits, that is, it's to act, get men to understand that we are as bothered as they are bothered. We are as responsible as they're responsible. We are as able as they're able. And that brings me to the aspect of, let me say, intellectual capacity, which I think is what Xavier was pointing to. Sometimes us and assume that I can have an organization that has 80% as staff members, but as long as they in decision making spaces.
Okay.
That to how we craft this gets to be successful, and is what Nanyinya is bothered about. On how we get to be in a good place, just and as the make that the boys are not left behind, and that takes the effort of both the mother and the father to be able to be alive to that, and not just at home, but generally in society. We have to be able to intellectualize what it is that someone, the board, or rather the of a company, doesn't feel, makes him uncomfortable having a woman around on the same table with him. Is it because he feels like he will have too much sympathy for the woman, that he would rather be commanding fellow men than women? Or is it because he feels like, oh, tomorrow she'll say I'm not feeling well, and she won't show? What have to be detail-driven on why this is working and what might affect the progress. Thank you.
So Aman, I don't know if I'm allowed to say
please.
something about that, but
Please.
Thank you, Jackie, for your comments, and I'm very interested in what you mean by earning the space. I know there are very many women right now that are listening out there. I'm very interested to know what would it take for that woman to earn that space, because when you're calling people to be on panels and you're literally talking to women, I don't know which women exactly, because there are many women doing amazing work, but maybe you are looking for a certain figure or a certain public figure. But I also know, like right now, the women that are listening in, or even other men that would like to invite women, are interested on what you look out for a woman to be on a panel, what it means to earn that space, what it means to have that intellect, to be able to be able to be invited, so that people are not making decisions on our behalf, but we can also be to make those decisions. I'm very sure the women out there would love to know what you look out for, so they can work on that.
That's a good one, as she's preparing to do to answer that.
I can straight away. Yeah. Right. First of all, I'm going to respond to how they can qualify themselves, but I would like to tell you what I think is the reason why a rate of them decline. And I've had trying to figure out how we solve that. I've had discussions with other people that hold public discussions, and is reason for their feeling that or decline is open space, and you have, in a way, you have to respect that, because this is someone's mother who is still respecting culture, because these things are a sort of a person will not feel comfortable having the openly discussed, or maybe someone is insulting you, or because after the show and after whatever has happened on social media has happened, there is a place going back to.
All right.
But then how do we qualify ourselves to that? I think it is through constant trainings. If I say something respectfully to someone else, or if I have my knowledge and I'm very comfortable and confident about it, it doesn't matter how someone else chooses to misunderstand me. Even if you misunderstand me and you want to sort of call my name out or attack me in a certain way. I saw we had a challenge with a lady in a leader in civil society, and she's a feminist. And I would like to mention that I don't think our society has really come to that concrete definition of what feminism is about. We are a bit excited about it.
All right.
However, a gentleman posted a picture of a totally different person on social media, and to show this feminist, because she's a feminist, yes, she's accomplished, she's all this, and but she wasn't as beautifully, I mean, in the general definition to men, what a beautiful woman is. So someone else picked up another picture of a certain celebrity or public figure, I don't know from which part of the world, and said, if a feminist looks like this, she's the only one who qualifies. Anyone else can go. But now pointing to, I'm paraphrasing, and I wouldn't like to repeat the very same words. So if I were the feminist, I would have been very offended that I'm expected to look like the other person before I qualify to be a feminist. Yeah. But where this person, and good, I think the feminist was confident about who they are, and she dragged a lot about it. But yes, the discussion and the debate was closed.
All right.
To wind this up, Amon, just to help our listeners understand the strength of being the person who qualifies to be accepted comes from how enriched our minds, souls are as women.
Okay. All right.
Because sometimes people like to prey on our emotions.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to bring in Ruth. Being a mother, I want us to handle this from the grassroots, the nurturing, before we look at men, how men have been treated, but how are they nurtured from home when they are children? Ruth, boys are not mentored, they are neglected from home, and what do you expect when they grow up? Who tells mothers that boys are not supposed to cook, are not supposed to clean, are not supposed to do domestic, and is only limited to only girls? Don't you think discrimination starts from home?
Thank you very much, Amon. I wanted actually to come in but you brought it in the way I wanted to bring it. If I could join to the conversation of Sylvia and Jackie. One of the things that affects or impacts on women's exposure and accepting in certain spaces is the way they were brought out. We may think that the discrimination starts with boys in the family, I think that's why the ministry has come up with the national parenting guidelines to ensure that the parents have a balanced mind in bringing up their children. Because in the eyes of God, they are both children. Whether a boy or a girl, they are both gifts from God. And most of this thing is how we are brought up. I don't know how many of which areas we come from, but the area I come from, you find that you are always told, you are a girl, don't do this, don't talk, your eyes shouldn't be sharp, you're what? So make sure that if someone calls you to talk, say, how will they see it? How will they? It was already affected. And whether how many degrees you have, that keeps on impacting on you. And maybe could be the challenge that Jackie and Sylvia was talking about. We may see Ruth, she has a degree, postgraduate, she's working in an office, but and talk in public says, but I was told. But that comes from the unconscious and suppresses the person. But in the bringing up, the are more mentored because they are mentored to be strong, to care for the family, to care for others. They are meant to look after the parents. It means you are someone. You are coming in the gap of someone. But it means you are a provider, you are the security, and that is how the boys are brought up. The challenge today, which we are seeing today, even that socialization is not there. We no longer have role models. The people we are seeing today, I don't know whether Amon and name what among those, the boys who are growing up today don't see. I want to give you one of the examples, and I've been giving it as I talk. The talks about parenting. There's a boy who was studying in one of the schools, and teachers ask these questions to the children. What would you want to be? And this boy, the question, whenever it would come, he would say, I want to grow up, marry a woman, and beat her. And it became an issue in the school until they called us as parents, because I was a parent in that school. And it was found that's what it is, the father mentoring the boy. Whenever they are coming to school, you have to be a man. You have to ensure that you are in control. So in that way, the boy felt that if you are to be a boy or a man, you have to beat. And that is the way they are mentoring. So he was not a good role model of a man, of which Men Engage is talking about. Instead of protecting the speech which we feel is vulnerable, you are now the one beating or killing this person. If you remember the viral WhatsApp which went up where the boy was beating a woman, even through the, would pull the dress up and down, and what type, someone would think that it's because of the drugs or what. No, he had a background behind on how he saw. The thing doesn't mean you have to say, don't do this or do this. It is what the child sees in the home, what the child sees in the environment, what the child sees from the mentor, he would feel are role models to him. So I think we have to have a deliberate effort. I appreciate that women have been brought up and we feel there could be sustainability, but the sustainability may not be there. To me is that most of the people, even us, you hear talking here, when it comes to home in our own private life, we behave differently. I know one of the activists whom we would call refused the son to marry a girl who had a child before. And you are the one who is saying, let the girls have second chance and what. It doesn't mean that it was wrong. And that one, it meant what you are talking here, do as I say, but not as I do. So the sustainability is still a problem. So we have to still maintain and ensure that what we are talking about is embedded within our culture, in the socialization process. The society does no longer see it as a challenge, but sees it as an opportunity, in that they would see a girl and a boy in the same way. They can assume the same things. They can do the same things other than the biological differences. So if the society comes to that, then the sustainability will be there. But what we are seeing here is a picture on the face, putting maybe some women in the what, but in the end, that woman doesn't take a decision of what Xavier was saying. So a picture of the number, we have to get out of the number to action.
Very true.
Yeah.
Wow, that's important. Godfrey,
Yes.
from the nurturing point of view, as a man, the boy child, when they develop the beard, the first, get out of my home. I can't be with another man in my own home. Go and start on your own. But a girl, even if she's 35, she still remains a child. As a and do we have a Biana and a Bana? Godfrey.
Yes. Amon,
Mm.
you brought up a very good example,
Very
a
interesting.
very interesting one. And I've been listening to my sisters in around here. And they're discussing issues around gender
And your
representation of
mom.
participation. And my mom as well. And mom, I'm glad to find you here in studio today. Yes, we have children and okay, we have Webiana and Havana. First, I thought I had these two sisters of mine that were speaking about how ladies are called upon, and of course their potential is undermined. They are just given an opportunity to just sit on the table, but they do not make decisions.
Very true.
Well, I believe it's a lie.
It's very
Okay, I'm coming from a disability inclusion arena, and I'll come on that later on, because there are two ways of empowering children. There are those that are targeted, and there are those that are mainstream. The feminism movement, where most of you here belong, it is looking specifically at the targeting Targeting is when you empower vulnerable people to represent, but it's not on. Okay, am I loud and clear now? Targeting, it is when you empower vulnerable people to represent, but not to participate. And of course, I believe, and I believe we all know, right? It's because of the feminism movement that women are given affirmative actions in electoral positions, and it is because of the feminism movement that there is an affirmative action of how girls are given extra points even at schools. Even there is feminism in schools. Education has been feminized. Recently, there was a study that was conducted in Michigan University, sorts of there. It revealed that boys can read and comprehend sentences if at all it is their gender is not revealed. But once their gender is revealed, they will not perform very well. Well, that is food for thought. So now we have here two issues: representation and participation. Women have been empowered to represent. And I think on every platform, if you do not invite a woman, it is a crime. The whole show, the entire thing will be like, it is discriminatory. But however, no one pays attention as to whether the woman they have invited on the table is able to participate. Because representation, you just come and be there. They talk critical issues, but you don't participate, you do not push for those policies, you do not. There are so many affirmative actions that have been taken.
And maybe that's what I was saying. Let's get out of the number, which is representation, to action.
To action.
Yeah.
Now, the feminism movement, empowering women to represent, is not a solution to the challenges women are facing. And I appreciate men, because from the fraternity where I come from, we use gender transformative action to alleviate gender-based violence and issues. We have dad and daughter workshops, what and what. But I have been in women's spaces and I've never seen such things, such programs coming up. Hey, mother and son, sister and brother. I don't see them. Apart from the I think women are so much right now advocates. They are into advocacy of complaining rather than activism. I don't know if I'm still on.
Yes, you're on, but what do you mean by on, and what do you mean by that?
What I mean right now is that we have raised a generation of complainants rather than activists.
What do you mean like complaining?
And the people...
If I say inequality and injustice, shouldn't I speak about it? Shouldn't I?
Speaking or complaining? Let me first finish up.
Xavier, let's respect his
Xavier,
time.
I know the fraternity you're coming from, and I know you all agree that women are right now just representing but not participating.
Okay.
And in so many spaces. And now, my issue is the boy child has no one to advocate for them. The father, the man, and everyone.
But is the affirmative action still relevant?
I hardly understand if it's still relevant because in education, everyone now faces.
Do you
a
think
crisis.
the 1.1 points that are given to girls still need to be there, or boys also deserve this?
Boys also deserve this. Boys, actually, right now we are at a time where boys deserve it so much. I was walking in town and I found a group of boys. They were in a gaming station. And of course, that is where they see that they belong, in the gaming stations. I was passing and I found them in the betting stations. And to men, or to the entire generation that we are rising up, it is not a challenge. If it were girls, it could have caused alarm. You get? So now, we are coming into a world where women have been empowered to take up spaces in STEM, in science, of course, in engineering, and in math. But I doubt whether we shall achieve an equal world when those girls that are empowered to take up spaces in STEM, in math, in engineering, in aerodynamics, are going to live with boys that are empowered to take part in playing games, playing betting, and in cases like that, and no one is caring.
Xavier,
Yes, please.
I believe that all the evils that I'm seeing or we are seeing in society are due to this gender equality. Most of the people don't think that women are equal to men. Women have been so much empowered that they see themselves to have gone beyond the level and they no longer need men. I'm talking about like an issue of abortion. Someone would prefer even to abort because they don't want to produce with a poor man. Where is this taking our society? Who has made men poor and women rich? Xavier.
So I'll basically speak about the economic aspect of that. So we need to unlearn and look at sometimes the reasons certain things are really existing. Right now, people are looking at issues to do with sustainability in family, livelihood, and what they would really want to achieve. And because the kind of people, like the biggest percentage of men they're dealing with right now is there is no perspective of unlearning to understand, because an issue of abortion is an issue you sit and you have to discuss about with someone if you wanted to make that decision. And if they sometimes they want or they don't want you to do it, but it affects both sides in any way.
But you sit with someone that you think you can discuss. Someone will say, I'm so much empowered that I don't have anything to discuss with you, a poor man.
I don't think it is really an issue of empowerment. So it's an assumption actually. Like men, by the time they are born, and the gender roles and how we've been raised, there is already power.
Who has
And
made
they
men?
have been
Who has made men so much poor and women rich?
And they have been told you actually need to share that statistics of. I would love you to share that statistics. What you mean by women are very rich than men, because ideally women were rich than men. This economy.
Godfrey, please, you have the statistics.
Godfrey wants to give us statistics, but if women were very rich
Xavier,
than the men.
Xavier, can we let Godfrey?
Yes, why not?
Okay.
I have some statistics.
Please.
And of course, I don't know whether you accept them.
No,
But
you
I've been
Please give your
service,
statistics.
and I know in almost every 10 workplaces, you will find that 60 of those are female. And 60 of those are earning money. You get? And even if the ED is a woman, it is not causing alarm. Everyone will be female. But if it is a man, the ED making decision, that is where the alarm will be.
Okay, Xavier.
Right now, I wanted to give the statistics in relation to education.
In seconds,
Since we are
please.
so much
Our
in
time is
economic
fast spent.
I will stick to economic empowerment. But make a research of your own. For every 10 workplaces you visit, 60% of their workforce will be female, and they will be part of the key decision makers.
Okay.
Well.
Okay, Xavier.
Maybe
Xavier.
Amon, I wanted to, when you asked statistics, I was waiting and actually I held my pen to write. But I wanted to come in at this word.
Okay.
That statistics, if you come, and I think I would welcome you to come to me to the Women's Day. In the program, in the synopsis, we have all the statistics. The statistics, as what he said, and he actually said it, is that women are there, but in which position are? Let's talk about the women who are in high positions where people are earning more than 30 million.
Yes.
You may find there are about 2 out of 8 men who are in that position, and that is just making a statistics. But the more when you go to the sweepers, tea makers, that's where the women have the majority, and that doesn't mean that they are rich. In God's name.
All right.
But what do the money of a woman do?
Yes.
I'm interested in knowing what the Ugandans are thinking about the topic, and I have a caller in UBC.
Good morning, Amon Mutega.
Yes, good morning to you. Your name and your comment?
Juma from Butega.
Your comment, please.
In the first aspect, I would like to congratulate all of you in the studio. I can hear you as a gentleman. The other one also a gentleman is there, and some 2 different voices are coming like female.
Are you happy how men are treated in society today?
Not to the percentage where required.
Why?
Loopholes are much. Number one, in leadership. Number two, medics. Number three, career, disability, job opportunity, culture, media of today, and the last, sensitization. So, you are representing us in studio there. I don't want to hear like the male who are in the studio, they're supporting male side. And the female who are there in the studio, they are engaging much and embracing side of ladies. So let us make it as a uniform thing. Like now it has happened. Now what next can be done? By government, by us ourselves here individually. So to me, you can see in leadership, you will find at least a woman, there is a voice there. The vice president is a woman. Then when you come to medics, you can get even Jane Ruta Sheng, she's a woman. I cannot see any reason why women are crying, they are not being balanced. You go to career. Today we have so many engineers who are coming from ladies' side, not like before it was. We come to disability. They also have their own challenges, but the weakness sometimes come from their representatives who are just going to represent, but they don't give out any idea. Job opportunity, you and me as Juma and a lady, you will see at the reception, the lady will be favored much than me. And you may come to know that maybe even I'm much qualified, my papers are more perfect than this lady, but due to some of other reason behind, she will be taken than me faster. They will tell me that shall call you later. You get the point. Then culture, we have some norms where women were not having voice to be heard in public. But with the current situation, current regime, women, they are now massive. And to me as Juma, I don't see it in bad faith. Because a word from a mother, it helps a lot the family as a whole. Media, control of media, and these other young ladies, they are misbehaving. And the mothers, they are also giving them some encouragement. Because now, a girl who is not earning is just at the campus, coming back with soap or a kilo of sugar, and you cannot fail to ask, where did you get this money from? You have to be a mother who can give a model of yourself. You have been there with the father of this daughter until today, till further notice. So tell this girl also, one day when she will get a reasonable person to marry, let her stick to that one person. Don't make it as a contract. I'm going to try marriage. After the house become hot, I will push back to my parents. And the mother will be the person to welcome you back home. That's why men, father try to give some guidelines. Boys have to keep monitoring these younger girls.
All right.
And it was a culture. Thank you so much. Otherwise, I have much to say. But let me say, betting tip, that man has highlighted it. Just only 1 second. At the teller, you find ladies, they are the one processing those tickets. Don't say that only men who are boys, they are the one at the betting center. Even ladies, they are there. At the tellers there who are running those, receiving the money and printing that ticket, ladies, majority. Thank you very much for God and my country. Busega, say hi to you, UBC.
It is great having you at UBC Ground Zero. Greetings.
Inshallah, alhamdulillah.
All right. Greetings to the people of Busega. UBC. I've lost the caller. Ground Zero takes a very short break. When we return, you're going to answer Juma's queries, and I'm going to have other callers. The number to call after the break is 776-511-426. The number to call is 776-511-426. This is UBC Ground Zero. We are taking a very short break, and we're coming back in a bit. We pray that you don't go away.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
This is UBC Radio, the home of inspiration.
Matilda, before you go, have you received your COVID vaccine?
Not yet, Sevo.
Matilda, why not? The Association of Religious in Uganda, ARU, and partners have launched Ambassadors Vaccine Campaign to inform you about the benefits of being vaccinated. Talks are all over that are neither research or scientific based over the COVID vaccines. What I can tell you, the vaccines are safe to save life of God's people. Life is for us all. Let us go for vaccination to stop the spread of COVID-19.
This message is brought to you by the Association of Religious in Uganda, ARU, and partners.
Matilda, go and get your vaccine.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
This is independent sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda, 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda, 102 Mega FM in Gulu, 97 FM Butembo Radio in Eastern Uganda, 107.0 Buduli FM, 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Totore Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome. That very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM UBC Radio. We're also live and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Table, UBC West Nile, and of course Magic 100 FM. Ampaide Amon Utega is my name, and we are talking about Women's Day celebrations, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. In the studios, it is a privilege and honor to have Tsasi Ruth Muguta, is a Principal Social Development Officer from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Godfrey Nanyenya is the Chairperson Human Rights Cluster at Men Engage Uganda. Xavier Nakakembo is a Life Coach, Gender and Business Developer. And Jackie Batamuliza, Research Associate from Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies. And this is UBC Ground Zero. This is the right time you call on 776-511-426. The number to call is 776-511-426. UBC.
Hello, UBC.
You are live and clear.
Yeah, this is Martin from Muyenga.
Yes, Martin, welcome to UBC Ground Zero.
Ground Zero, yeah, welcome.
Your comment on gender equality. Is it gender equality or gender inequality?
Inequality.
Why?
So, I'm welcoming both of you.
Okay.
UBC, where the visitors are all. On my side here, the way I'm monitoring, or the way I'm seeing even, I think there is no complaint about that. Because if you see from the swamp up to the river, all the ladies they are equal and what? And men. But only one side, which is not there in this government. Like now, tomorrow we are going to celebrate Women's Day. But Men's Day is not there. That's only the what? Only the problem which we have is. But even like yesterday, when they are part of those prisoners officers there, the way they promote even the women. The way everything women. So I don't know the way the women are complaining about their agenda or whatever. So I think that everything is equal.
Okay. Even when we are not celebrating Men's Day? All right.
Yeah, we don't have women's.
Because every day is Men's Day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Martin.
You're welcome.
Okay. UBC?
Yes, good morning, brother.
Good morning to you. You're live and clear.
This is Job from Tororo.
Job?
Yes, Job Oshing from Tororo.
Yes, please, your comment and on the
Yes.
issue.
The comment which I can say when we are talking about the gender balance, you'll find that when it comes to the ladies, most of them they work, and you'll find that some of them they don't want their husband to know how much are they earning, and they don't want their husband to know how are they using their money. And you find that but for them they want everything which come across like in a family, they live to the end. So I don't know how imbalanced is that.
All right.
Thank you, brother. I remain Job from Tororo.
Greetings to the people of Tororo.
You are most welcome, sir. I'm most blessing to be a member of UBC.
We are, because you are.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I hope one day to call me there and also give my opinion.
Please.
Thank you.
All right. UBC, live and clear on 98 FM, also on UBC Table, UBC Western Island, Magic 1 on 100 FM, 776-511-426. This is UBC Ground Zero. Back to the studio, we are discussing Women's Day celebrations, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. You have heard from the people of Uganda. Starting with you, Ruth, from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development.
Yeah, if I think we are responding to the people.
Yes.
When you hear there is an appreciation of the gender equality, because we are all, and I would want people to understand when we talk of gender equality, we are not saying we are equal in height, we are equal in size. It is equal opportunities.
And resources,
access to resources and control. In that, if I am, take an example with someone talking from Tororo, that sharing of the proceeds or whatever the woman has. Yeah, if I talk about the villages, because we also come from the village, a woman harvests, a woman does production, digs and harvests, but the one who markets is a what? Is a man. So, Amon, in that sense, what would a woman share? If now I'm getting salary and you are getting salary and you never, some of these things are behavioral. You've never, as the head of the family, brought that my salary is this, in fact, with your wife, what should we do? Even when I have mine, I will bring it on board because it means that is the culture of the family. But that's why I'm saying most of these things will happen at household level.
Men say that women have failed and totally failed to declare how much they earn. And when you ask them, as popularly said in Uganda, senteze chikazi, what does that money do? If you are not paying rent, you are not paying school fees.
It's bad that you brought me on Utembo. If you had brought me on West, I would have told you in Nyankore. But now I have to speak in English.
Okay.
Because really, if you are pointing to a woman, and you are saying the woman is not bringing things on the table, you as the head of the family, I'm a Christian, the head of the family is the priest, is the mentor, is the everything. You've never brought what you earn on the table to be shared. Why do you expect the child, the follower, the subject to do the same? Do as I do, not as what I say. So that is the problem. It is already in the process.
All right.
Let me try to assist Amon in responding to that. Because
in seconds.
If we don't respond to it, it's an important question.
Yeah.
And if we don't respond to it, I think we will have left this show with a dent. I think women don't declare their
they do.
Their
to me, they
resources
do.
or
they don't declare their resources because of insecurity.
Yeah.
I am the mother of the children. If you're on any day, the man will change and follow some other person. I don't want to let my children go without food. If there's any security, the first thing the first instinct I have, a maternal instinct, is to protect children, and the certainty of that is something I keep to myself. And that notwithstanding,
Jackie,
yeah,
we have just heard from the caller that women are earning even more than men.
Mm-hmm.
You imagine someone earning 30 million, but you want me to pay your rent, you want me to pay school fees, and tomorrow you ask me money for the saloon. What does your money do? And we are saying we are all equal. Is that equality really?
So what happens? So Amon, what
Let
happens?
Jackie first, Xavier, let Jackie first finish, please.
No, I'm on it. Back to the question of the insecurity of the woman, because you have to, just as the man does not trust my ability or doesn't trust me that much that I can be responsible, and there's a use that I have for my money. It's the same thing that a man makes me feel when they ask me that, and even before they ask me that. I don't just have your children, like my children, to take care of. There's also sometimes as if a girl has achieved a certain level of success, there are expectations even in the family where she comes from.
All right.
Now, if actually not
For the man.
yes, but even besides all of that, that instinct of do I trust this man wholly or do I not? Do I trust this woman wholly or do I not? And so that uncertainty and that
we always
safety.
say that marriage is based on trust. If you cannot trust me with your resources, will you trust me with your heart?
Amon, will you trust her with your resources?
I have already trusted her with my resources by paying rent, by declaring how much I pay, and I also give you that privilege that you account for it. I tell you I have 1 million, you account for it.
I think that's best on it's like as if
individual characters.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Xavier had something to say.
Yes, I would like to say something about that, Amon. So there is a difference between you saying you're paying my rent, my hair, and then you say that you're declaring.
Yeah.
Declare and bring the money on the table.
We plan.
And we plan for it. But what is happening right now is you still have the decision on where your money goes. I cannot decide. You choose that this money goes for hair. You choose that this money is for food. You choose that this money is going to be positioned in this way. So equality in that context could be you are declaring and we have put this money to use and we all have access to it. Access to money is because you have given someone the power and the decision to make that. Before you say something, I would like to share with you. I can share a scenario.
Let's first give Xavier her time.
I'll also first give you an example. Recently, I think 3 weeks back, I was in Kamwenje. Kamwenje is a rural setting, and I was training a couple of groups in business development. And one of the things that came out in finances are issues to do with men taking women's money. And they say, borrow me this money, and they never come back. What happens is, if she asks for this money back, they start beating them. They start telling them, but haven't I bought you food? But the agreement earlier was something different. So women comes back to insecurity that Jackie talked about.
Comes in. There's this other aspect.
First come in.
I'm not respond to it to react.
Maybe
to it.
Later. Let first give his opinion on that. Godfrey.
At first, thank you so much, Amon. At first, I really wanted to first allude to the questions and the observations from our dear listeners, and I'm glad that they are all listening to us. That shows that they have an interest in this show. And of course, I agree with most of the callers. They have seen a gap in gender equality. And as we are in here speaking, there is a question that you asked to these 3 ladies that I'm with in here. And of course, they are all shying away from it. But the fact is that there is something my fellow sister said, Xavier, that if you're a man and you're earning and I am earning also more than you, or either way less than you, bring all your money, I decide.
No.
So the question is right now, the question
Plan.
You need to
plan, not
you need
decide.
to
because the way you bring it is like it's now solely the woman
all
who
of us.
wants
No.
who wants to decide.
It's all of us. No, it's all
This
of
is
us
the generation
to
that we're
decide.
bringing up.
Yeah, we don't want the people.
To you.
Please.
Make it clear that we said bring the money as a family. We plan for
We
it,
plan
not
for
for a
it.
lady.
As a family, you plan or
Let's get
Lady.
okay, let me go with
let's
my-
give him time. Rules is to respect someone's time. So
No, but
I
when we
respect
mislead
the respect to that.
the listeners.
So go back to gender.
In case you see him misleading, you will clear it in your time.
When we go back to gender,
Mm.
I am a very good fan of gender because I have been in gender spaces.
Okay.
Gender has so many aspects. There is gender binary, there is gender roles, of course, there is gender itself. And when you go back to ethology as human behavior, there are behaviors that we exhibit naturally on a natural bias. But gender roles specifically is so much on how society perceives duties of roles of a woman and a man, of course. Now in here, society way back, and I allude to it, society way back had a strong attachment and connection to roles of a man because everyone thought a man is a hero, should be superior, should be a warrior.
Okay.
And of course that is how it was, as I said in the start. But the feminist movement, which had very good intention, came and expanded the purpose of the girl child to take up spaces. But as this was being done, there's no one who stepped in to help the boy child. And the reason as to why we are here, we are not here to argue of how women should be taking up decisions, of how women should be given points. We're here to see gender equality. How best can we really achieve it as a whole? Because we are heading to the International Day, and if at all the generation of women we are raising is a complainant one, rather than a generation of activists, people are going to be putting things in practice.
All right.
When I asked a question to my colleagues here.
In seconds, our time is fast spent.
Yes, now that we have achieved a generation where women are educated, where women are taking up positions in parliament, they are prime minister, they are in health, they are everywhere.
Okay.
What is it that is needed for them to participate? Because they told me earlier that those women are there, but they do not participate in decision making.
Okay.
And so I think decision making here is attached to men so much.
All right.
But we see women up there, so many, and the men are nowhere. They are even few. But why is it still it is an issue that they are not actually participating? I gave them an opinion that from the fraternity where I came from, we as men, we have been working with young boys and young men to we are using gender transformative approaches like the dads and daughter workshop, we are encouraging them to support the girl child, to be empathetic about everything, not to be angry in the home, like anything. But what are women doing? First, to build their capacity to participate.
Maybe you will come in later.
And
our
secondly,
time is
to empower the community, the boys and everyone in the family to be at the same level, because it is taking shape that ideally gender equality is not well to be achieved.
Thank you. Jack, in seconds, our time is fast spent.
I want to clear two main points. I want to give Godfrey and our listeners the confidence that we women do believe that fathers and male figures are an important part of our confidence in society. So the empowerment of men is something we have at heart, and things may go here and there, but we're here to iron out those faults. Number two, and the last point I want to make, I know that this challenge of men and women's money is a big. It's caused a lot of mistrust even in families. Sometimes they're broken up. I think that somehow we have to handle going forward the inferiority complex that men assume when a woman earns in a certain way. Yeah. Some woman may even protect that truth just because she wants to keep her marriage. That if I say I earn this much money, the man is going to begin to feel that I'm a bad psycho, and then he'll go look for other women or other ways, or he will start saying, where does this woman get this much money? Yeah, okay. And become a big question in the family. So people protect others from the truth, and I've said this in circles where I am. People truth not because they want to lie to you, but because the truth is someone to bear. All right. Yeah. I'm more interested in knowing what other Ugandans are thinking about this. UBC live and clear.
Good day, good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name and where are you coming from?
This is Joel from Soroti.
Your name again?
Joel from Soroti.
Yes, Joel. You're welcome on UBC Ground Zero.
I think women these days are repatriating money to their parents. That's the reason why they are shouting like that. That money, when women have money, when women get money, men just grab money, which is not the case.
What do you think needs to be done? UBC live and clear, 776-511-426. This is UBC Ground Zero. We are discussing Women's Day celebrations, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. UBC. Hello.
This is Elisha from Butebo.
Yes, Elisha. We are great to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate that discussion.
Please.
But I feel there is a mixture in the issues. Some of the issues are spiritual. And we would really go through the spiritual leaders to infuse the knowledge and the willingness, the cooperation between the two people. Some issues are cultural. I personally grew up, every time my father got money, he gave it to mom, she kept our fees apart and so on, and our source of income was cotton. And I've done the same thing in my life. And I think to generalize, if one man did this and they thought every man is doing the same, that complicates the whole discussion, and the debate may not yield. And some areas are educational, social, abilities. If a woman is highly educated, she gets a good job. And if a man is highly educated, he also gets a good job. And the payments, I think, are determined. They are for that kind of input. So I think when you are discussing, women should be well balanced and men should be well balanced. There are women who run the families, and there are men who run the families. And
has society really balanced men and women? I lost the caller. UBC live and clear.
I'm on Juma in 1 minute.
Seconds.
Yes, I disagree. Issues of one raised about security. That when she has not discussed her amount, the couple, that's security. Security against the child, security against the husband, security against the wife.
They are worried about it.
Transparency.
All right.
Dignity of the prayer of the home start from there. That let me hide it. Yes,
thank you, Jama.
Welcome.
Hello.
UBC.
Yeah, this is Job again.
In seconds, please.
I can feel when I was in high school or when I was sitting for my senior 4, we had a briefing, and the way our teacher used to tell us that a girl who is sitting for senior 6, she has some 2 points already in the box catered for her.
And that would worry you?
And now that one, how comes that for them they have theirs already 2 points on the box, And now we gents, we don't have any. Now when it comes to the senior one application, you find that a girl with the 28 aggregate, there is a way they will accept him in the high school compared to boy gent.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Maybe government consider that because girls are still vulnerable. UBC live and clear.
Yeah, welcome, sir. This is Martin again.
In seconds, our time is fast spent.
Yes, no, wait a bit, sir.
All right.
This regime of this girls of this day, yeah? It is not like the other long time ago. But the ladies of long time ago, also if you give the money to can keep and you find that money is there. But these ones, in fact, I don't know which their banks where, their homes or parents' homes or where. That is what is training me too much.
Okay.
And even you find that you are the one who is caring for everything, but if you're earning money than me, everything is coming to ask me. You imagine, even if he's going to work there, whatever, he's asking me money for those things. And even food, I'm the one. Renting, I'm the one. But we're earning all together the money. Why?
All right. I am glad I have 3 ladies in the studios who are going to answer this because they have the best answers. You earn more than a man, but still you want everything at home to be paid by a man. Elisha from Butewo says that spiritual leaders need to intervene and save the situation, and thinks that gender equality is also culture where a man needs to take his position. I am worried that gender equality is taking away the cultural norms. How true is that, Savior? Has gender equality taken away the reputation and the respect that is supposed to be given to a man at home as the head of a family?
I don't know how we define equality. I don't know how we define respect.
A man, that a woman is equal to a man.
So what? That is not the case. So what is happening right now? There is a saying that says the only way to get your power is by giving it away. So what happens?
So have men given this power away to women?
So the reason that men are struggling, why we have many cases of stress, committing suicide and something like that, is that they have let that be upon them to do each and everything for most of our cultures.
Okay.
So in our cultures, we have been told all these things. But today, I would like us to focus more on the beauty about gender equality and what it can do for a family and what it can do to improve livelihoods and all that kind of thing.
Has gender equality faded the cultural norms?
No, it hasn't. It has actually made it better in a way.
Ruth, you said no. How?
Yeah. Yeah, because culture is not static. Culture changes. Because the culture we are talking about is not the culture of 1900. And so because I'm in the Department of Culture, so that's why I have the confidence and the ability to talk about it.
But they say men no longer have their value at home as husbands.
Before you complain, Amon, you first ask yourself, do you have value? One of the statistics in Uganda, men are no longer in homes. They have relegated their roles, and that is under parenting in my docket. The men have run away from their families. Wherever there is a responsibility, they are, whether educated or not educated. Most men, almost about 60%, are no longer being responsible for their families. And that's why we are getting increased child neglect. Out of COVID, I want to give you this as a statistics. In 2021, the police report indicated that 200 cases of defilement were defiled by their own fathers. So with that, what is the role of the father now? So when you relegate your role and you are no longer seen as someone responsible, so what should the woman sit? And if we see the economic situation and here culture goes with such, culture does not put someone who is not there. Okay. Even culture does not even appreciate that a man you should relegate to your role. So culture changes. it goes with the situation, and that's why we are in within the cultural leaders, so that they can see the culture, that the norms that can no longer surface in this situation,
Okay.
and those that are surfacing in this situation.
All right, Godfrey. Can we look at the domestic violence? Why is it written that every time one mentions something about domestic violence, it is always a woman, a victim? Are men not also beaten at home and
They
dying
are.
in siren?
They are.
You have asked me a very good question.
They are
It's
dying.
where I was coming when I had my mother here speaking about sexual harassment, and of course the rape cases that have been happening they have been rampant throughout lockdown and beyond. I remember times back we're here at UBC TV during the UPR Universal Periodic Review, still speaking about the same thing. First things first, when you look at the laws, even in the Ugandan policy, I think sexual harassment, it is only women and girls that were mentioned. It does not mention boys, how boys can be molested at home, how they are sexually harassed and abused. And I believe such cases are not even handled so much by the state prosecutors a lot. That is one case. So you'll see that there is a gap already. The boys are not even protected so much, even in the Ugandan policies. Secondly, when you go to report cases as a man that you have been violated, you have been beaten by a woman, even the police officer himself will laugh at you, because of course most of the officers handling the child and family protection unit, they are basically sometimes female. They are men also as well. I don't want to discriminate, but they will not so much attach value on you, because of course society has raised up a boy and they think a boy is a hero. A boy should suffer for the entire humanity race to survive. That is one. So men are also suffering in silence, but no one is there. Even if you try to point out right there that you have been battered, you have been punished in any way by a woman, or you are being deprived of anything in a home. And that is the reason as why many men are running away from homes. I have friends who have ran away from home. They have married and they have ran away from home, but because of one thing. They can reach home and the woman quarrels, the woman abuses each and everything. But hey, how can you even go to your friends and you report that my woman is doing this and this? Everyone will laugh at you. You know, so psycho already traumatized.
All right. All right, Jackie, what should be done to help this man who is suffering in silence, being beaten in the night by his wife, but cannot report to anyone, even to his friends?
I think first and foremost you have to have conversations around it, because whatever else is a solution, we have to come up with the problem acknowledged. I think there are people who don't even believe that happens. Number two, I think we have to get back to reorienting the girl child and get them to understand that empowerment doesn't mean violence. Empowerment means a good benefits, economic benefits, access to resources, and all of that, but not violence. So that needs to be re-emphasized in the mind of the woman. And by the way, some not even violent because they basically want to be violent. But we even our brain research says that we feel more than men do biologically. We put so much, and the spark of that is our reaction. Anybody can look that up on YouTube or any other scientific literature. So, but every human is capable of being a beast, but we cut that out through culture, through faith, through education, through all these things. How women are today is not how they were in the 1920s. Things have changed, so we can still change the girl back. Number three, I think there needs to be a look into the legal system in how these things are handled. But my personal conviction is that things are not practiced because the law says they should be. No, it's to each other on a daily that becomes a way of life.
All right. Thank you so much. Xavier, do you think we have reached the point of agitating for men emancipation?
Yes, we have. And
whereby we need to protect and promote the boy child.
So it's not an issue of protecting and promoting the boy child. You know, certain highlights of language might bring in another context. But I first of all believe in male engagement. I for one do a project on boys in the organization, and it's only boys. It's male engagement in ending violence against women and girls, and I think this is the time. But how do we look at that? So when my brother was saying that, you know what, everyone is coming out for the girls. Who is coming out for a men? Well, we are there. If you need more numbers, we have to create more numbers ourselves. But right now, when men come in on issues to do, especially with violence and gender equality, they need to see the good side. We need to be allies to women. What women are doing already, we need to engage men to come into it and actually be in support. Does a man know that doing gender equality in their business increases their profitability as a certain percentage, or they are afraid? So all these key things we need to take through. But I think this time we need to male engagement. I am in for it. I do it, and I really do not have like any argument about
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Men need to be part of this.
Thank you. Ruth, society has empowered, I think over-empowered the girl child, and has also in the other way prepared the girl child for marriage. Who has prepared the boy?
Thank you very much, Amon. I really like some of your questions. But I wanted to come on the other that should we come now to empower men as I come into this issue? Yes, it is. And as you know, a woman cannot be there without a man, and a man cannot be there without a woman. So together we have to be at the same level. And it is at this basis that things were found out that women are far back behind. They cannot be to help this man as the man struggles to develop. So they had to put in interventions to ensure that they are on the same level, understand at the same level, and move together. Okay. But in the process, we have found out that we have empowered more of the girl, and the boy is left behind. So there is a need of bringing men, boys, at the same level by empowering them, giving them skills, giving them self-esteem, confidence, to be able that together with the women, the security of a woman is the security of a man, the ability of a man is the ability of the woman, so that they can work together for the development of their family, of their nation, and their society.
All right. Our time is fast spent. We may not go beyond this. I'm going to start with you, Godfrey. Yes. You make your final remarks, and we are going to end with UBC this edition of Ground Zero. Starting with you, Godfrey, what do you think gender equality should take? Which direction it should take? What needs to be done?
Thank you so much, Amon. And I'm very happy that we had a very candid discussion today around gender. So, solely what I think is society should look into discovering the sole purpose of both genders, the men, the boys, and the girls equally. The sole purpose now we have to do is to prepare boys for caring professionals, because ideally boys are lacking an empathetic mindset in themselves, and of course they are in a quest for survival for the fittest, because they feel they're left out. So we have to train them to consider an option of being either a full-time dad, and how a full-time dad should be, and how to raise a family, and how to be friends with the sister, with the girl child when they are young, not to grow up thinking that they have to fight for opportunities with the girl child. And I think we have to train that the same thing to the girl child, that hey, this is your brother. We
Okay.
are providing for you the same opportunities. We want you to take up spaces together. We want you to grow together. We want you to all both be participants, decision makers.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Jackie, your final remarks, please.
First of all, UBC for putting this together and for everyone who has engaged us. I would just like to emphasize the aspect of whether you're male or female, man or woman, society, when we take care of each other. And tranquility is not something we have as a benefit, it's not something we have as a right. Everybody needs tranquility to progress. So, through these issues, men, don't be overwhelmed by women not telling you how much they earn, even to ask you while they earn. It's a you feel still safe and still in charge, because society wanted us to feel like that, rather make you feel like that you are superior. So to protect your feelings, a woman will still come to you and ask you for what you have, but it's not something that is done out of rudeness. And I appreciate the person, I think, from the person who pointed to faith. I think it's very dangerous to generalize when we are discussing these issues. We need to study and make decisions that are scientifically proven and have evidence. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Sevia, in seconds, please.
So gender equality for sustainability growth to me is, I'll leave the listeners with talking about shared roles. Once again, the only way to gain your power is by giving it away. When men understand the concept of shared roles, let's say starting from a home level, where you don't feel offended by washing plates, where you don't feel offended by taking care of all these other discussions that are going on, you realize that you actually gain more power and support from your wife than when you are trying to pull away and trying to implicate all these other roles. So the only way to gain your power is by giving it away. I think the listeners need to try that, but thank you for having us. I appreciate the time in the studio.
We also appreciate Ruth.
Thank you very much for hosting us, and specifically me. I want to end by saying gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a prerequisite for sustainable development. If all of us are empowered in education, healthcare, decent work, access and ownership of the resources, then we will be environmental sustainable development. Because gender equality helps both men and women to achieve their full potential, not only one side, and improves the self-esteem. Why all this you are hearing, we are struggling with here, is because someone's self-esteem is being impacted on. And it provides a model for children and young people in ways of treating each other fairly. That's what my friend was talking on, boys being protective. And also lastly, it is indeed a leverage for personal and societal growth. So as together, we can be able to appreciate each other, we can follow the laws and the rules, and we are not taken up by taking some things, because most of us get things from outside and want to put them here. Like the issue of feminist, of gender, the word, but in actually, if we would put them in our own words, people would understand it better. May God bless you, and I wish you a happy Women's Day.
Thank you so very much. We have reached at the end of UBC Ground Zero edition. It is great that we started with you since the time we started. I want to appreciate all the callers, all the listeners, wherever you're listening in from, our online and radio audience. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the guests that we had in the studios. We've been discussing Women's Day celebrations, gender equality, today for Sustainable Tomorrow. As we are preparing to celebrate this day, this celebration on 8th March, which is going to be on Tuesday next week. And someone who had a concern that men don't celebrate it, I'm promising that it is coming on 19th November, and you're glad it's going to be a Saturday. As Jackie said, that every day is for men. I don't know how true that is, but in the studios I had Tusasiri Ruth Mugta, is a Principal Social Development Officer from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Godfrey Nanyenya is the Chairperson Human Rights Cluster at Men Engage Uganda. Sevia Nakakembo life coach, gender and business developer. Jackie Batamariza is a research associate from Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies. Ampaide Amon Obtega is my name, and from all of us at UBC, we wish you all the best, and you may listen in and wait for other programs. COVID is still real, so please be safe. For good and my country, Amon Obtega, I sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Mazamu